Hello everyone, welcome to Glass Half Dead. I'm going to warn you now, this is a very self-indulgent video, and I am going to basically do what old grandparents do and talk about my time at Warhammer World. There is no value in this for anybody out there, unless you want to live vicariously through somebody else that has actually been to Warhammer World. However, there are better pictures for the whole and tours for the whole of Warhammer World online than what I'm about to do. This is purely for me, to be honest. So, unless you're not doing much else, or you're a die-hard Glass Half Dead fan, might want to give this one a miss. There you go. Anyway, enjoy what I've already recorded. Have a good one, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Glass Half Dead. Today, I'm doing a little recap of the Warhammer World event that I just went to. I'm sure if you're watching my channel, you know about it. But basically, I just attended the Warhammer World Kill Team event last Saturday and Sunday. We're starting with, and okay, this is, you know, when your grandparents would sit you down and very, very slowly go through a slide collection, probably on an overhead projector. Uh, I'm doing that to you. There's not going to be any rules information here. There's not going to be any games played. This is just, do you want to go to Warhammer World, but can't really and want to live vicariously through other people? I'm here for you. Let's do it. Okay. The first picture you may have noticed has also been my thumbnail for all of the Warhammer World stuff because I was honestly just super impressed and thought it was really cool that the takeaway cups they have at the Bugman's bar there has its own logo. I really liked it. There you go. Right. So when you get there, this is the first sign you see, Games Workshop. This, as I'm sure you all know, is the Sigmarine that replaced the Space Marine a few years ago. I'm going to admit it does look a lot more impressive than the Space Marine does. But that's mainly because the Space Marine is like 50 years old or something ridiculous. They should have updated the Space Marine. This isn't the most dynamic pose either. Like, anyway, it looks nice. There you go. As soon as I got through the doors, to my right, there was this nice little diorama of Stormcast against Khorne. That's the first thing you see to your right. Yeah, looks cool. However, compared to the exhibit and the museum, whatever you want to call it, upstairs, this is nothing. That's coming up. This little stack here was everything they had. This was all they printed for the whole of the Kill Team event. To say that supplies were limited is a little bit disingenuous. This is it. These were the supplies. There were no spares. They all sold within the first hour of the doors opening. And the only reason they sold that slowly is because the ticket machine or the card reading machine worked really slowly. There you go. Yeah. Luckily, I managed to pick myself up one of each and the data cards that came with them. Hint, hint, if you want a copy of the data cards, I'm sure I could arrange that. Let me know in the comments. I'll give you a link. They are, for anybody curious and hasn't looked into it, they are open play and narrative only. No match play with them, guys. That's a close-up of the sign. Oh, for anybody curious, both of these teams, if you don't know, have their own books, Black Library book series. Gaunt's Ghosts is up to some crazy amount now, and I've only read the first two, I think. Whereas Colonel Schaefer's Last Chances had 3 in total. A little bit more on that in yesterday's video, yes, so you already know. So yeah, and Colonel Schaefer's Last Chances should, assuming nothing changes, have a fourth coming out next year or the year after. Oh yes, and this was just the bit where we can see on the cards that it says includes narrative data cards. That's it, no match play. I'm sure a lot of you already know, but when you go to Warhammer World, there are Warhammer World exclusives that you can buy. These are two of them. It's the Space Marine Command Tanks, Land Raider and Rhino. You see them painted up in the box there. Very nice. Oh yes, and this is Warlord Titan Head, which has a cool looking commander sat in it. If I had a Warlord Titan, this would go on there. I'm not that crazy though. I took a picture of these because I'd never seen them before. However, since seeing them, I have a suspicion they're not actually rare. This is Archaon Everchosen. So once you've gone up through the lobby, you enter a nice largish store, and they have pretty much every model they make in grey plastic inside display cases. And I think that's actually really cool. You can see how the model will look when you buy it, as opposed to how it looks after a professional painter has spent hours, days making it look perfect. And you don't really get the sense of scale here, but Archaon the Everchosen is a huge model. Absolutely huge. I think it's really cool. And I feel like conversions could happen there. Just saying. There you go. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't realized it was so big. I know it's a few years old now, but big model. Really cool. Obviously, they have a Lord of the Rings section. And this is, as you can read there, Anduril? Anduril, Flame of the West. The actual sword used in Return of the King. This is Smaug. Um, it is a large model, but it's not that large. I've got to admit, I thought he was going to be much, 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 much bigger. Especially after, I'd heard that they had trouble releasing him, and the reason he was delayed so much is because he was so big. He's not. He's big, but he's not that big. And of course, we see little Mr. Baggins there, hiding beneath his claw. I'm sure most of you have probably seen a Wraith Knight. I had not realised just how bloody big that webway portal was. That is a huge portal. Like, that's really big. So I felt I had to take a picture of that. Yeah, that's me actually taking a picture of the webway portal, far more so than taking a picture of any of the miniatures there. So they also have the Forge World shop right next to the Games Workshop shop. Obviously, in pictures you don't get a full sense of scale. It would be really cool if they could put a standard Space Marine next to every single model. But here you go. So I've never seen any of these in person. A lot of them are really cool, really cool. It was honestly just good fun to look in the display cases at naked grey chunks of resin. 1010 wood bang. Yes, so this is the a Reaver Knight, and you see on the right there, that's a Lord of Skulls, but with the Chaos Legs conversion instead of the wheels, and a Chaos Knight not a Chaos Knight, and I made sure to get them in the picture so that you can see just how big the Reaver Titan is. I'd say it's at least twice the size, maybe two and a half, three times. Here's the Tau. Um, there's a lot of suits. What can I say? Obviously, I had taken my own Tau kill team, so I felt I had to get a few snaps of this. None of these really blew me away. However, I did quite like how the Tau Tetras looked at the back there. Yeah. Oh yes, there we go, the Tau Tetras. I think they look cool. Here's the Necrons. Again, I had never really seen any of the Forge World stuff, and like scale wise, so it's just really cool to see it. Oh yes, and that's the Warlord Titan next to a Reaver Titan. So we remember the Reaver Titan there was it was two and a half, three times the size of an Imperial Knight. Oh, and if we look at the bottom of the screen, we see a little an actual model for scale purposes, thankfully. So this guy's probably 5 times the size of an Imperial Knight. These are some of the other knights you can buy if you have a knight team. These are the forgeworld knights. Very dynamic poses, very different from the knights you can buy from GW, but cool nonetheless. Oh yeah, so this was over to the 30k section. This gun, fucking huge. Like it's a ridiculously big gun. So I just had to get 2 pictures of it just so that you could see how stupidly big it is. Again, pictures never do these things justice. You really have to see it. This was a Stormbird. At first, I thought it was a Thunderhawk. It wasn't. It's bloody huge. Ah, yes, a Phantom, an Eldar Phantom Titan. Very big, but also very slender and graceful. I think they did a pretty good job of making a nice anime knight there, because those are some anime proportions on those legs. Oh, yes. Oh, and it's very out of focus. Well done, me. Compared to everything else, the big Tau Titan battlesuit, a little bit underwhelming, I've got to say, actually. Like, just everything else there, all the Imperial Knights, really cool. Tau, not so much. Equally, I'm going to say this now, I do not like the Orc Titans style and aesthetic. I'm really looking forward to October, see what they bring out. I'm really hoping they can just change that a little bit. I love it for the smaller vehicles, for the buggies, the war tracks, etc., etc. That's great. Not the war tracks, the death wagons. Is it a death wagon? Battle wagon, that's the word. I think that's brilliant. I love that ramshackle style. I love the killer cans and the dreadnoughts. They're not called dreadnoughts, but go with it. But as soon as you get up to this size thing, so Gorkanaut, Morkanaut, Stomper, eh, nah, they don't do it for me. Just don't like them. It's a real shame. This is a Necron pylon. For scale, it is the same size, height wise, as the Tau Titan there. It's pretty bloody big. And again, I was there with my Tau, so I had to take a look at the flyers. Uh, quite like the look of the Remoras. The others looked a little bit flat, like there's just not much to them. So I was a little bit disappointed in those actually. Bit of a shame. And then on my previous video, you've already seen all of this stuff. I haven't gone over my thoughts on this terrain yet. I'm going to save it until I do an unboxing, but it's not favourable, is all I really say to that. Yeah. Oh, a little side note here for the Tau. Aren't they scary as shit? You never think of Tau as being scary, but apparently they bloody well are. Yeah. This was a table that you could play on. All of their tables like this you could play on. This is just a table in the middle of the room. You could just play on it if you wanted, and it's complicated as balls. My gosh. I don't think it would actually be good to play on, like full scale 40k. Kill Team perfect, Necromunda perfect, but full scale 40k, no. We will come back to these later. I met, completely randomly, I met somebody that watches my channel, a guy named Phil, and uh, challenged him to a game. He'd only played I think one game before, and I said I'd help teach him the ropes. As he was in the tournament the next day as well on the Sunday, and he was a little bit nervous about not being fast enough and slowing down the game. Very nice guy. So we played a game together. I can't really remember the result. Hopefully, when I go over this, I will remember it properly. This is the cup again, obviously. I had my kill team rulebook signed by the 3 guys that were there that were the rules writers, Dave, Wade, and Jim. Great guys. Anyone that was willing for me to hand him a page of rules and not insult me, yeah, how can I argue with that? This was the tournament the next day. Um, yeah, not much more to say about it. I took a picture of this. So we had a as part of our ticket price, we had a free lunch in the canteen, not in the Bugman's bar, but in the canteen. And I saw this, and I was like, why on earth is it in two different languages? And the top language, if you don't know, is English. Pro tip. Bottom language, Polish. The reason for that being that they have a lot of Polish workers um, in their warehouse. So there you go. I actually asked the guy. I said, "Why?" And he was like, "Ah, well. Oh, okay. So let's watch this. Here we go." So over my lunch break, I went into the Warhammer World exhibition museum. They have music playing in the background, and you can go and see all of these crazy displays they've done. All of them are epic, and you could stand there and just look at every little detail for so long. Honestly, it was crazy the amount of things they've done. Really cool, really cool. Like I can't even describe some of the things, which is why luckily I have pictures. There we go. This is so obviously they had big dioramas like that, but they also had individual models. And this is a space wolf, I think, jumping through. I don't know what it is. I'm not. It's not a space wolf. Jumping through glass. We see how the glass jumps, like smashes out with it as he's leaping into the guy's face. Really cool. What's the next one? Okay. Stormcast against Khorne. Again, I just, you could pause this and just look at everything in the background because there's so much there that I didn't spend time looking at. I just went over it. There's so much there. I thought this one was really cool. This is obviously the Arcanauts, whatever they're called, the little dwarf men. Yeah, they do a really spectacular job of making the Cold War look like clowns. Apparently that's not a video. This is. I think I just liked the look of the explosions. That's probably what I was focusing on there. This is an old school Orc versus Ultramarines. We see though the old the beakies as they're called, that armor pattern. Just a classic scene. A classic scene. Oh, they had all of the Primarchs out. If you wanted to see what a Primarch looked like, they had them. Gosh, look at these. Aren't they just a little bit stunning? Unfortunately, now that I look at it, Fulgrim's not looking at Ferrus Manus, so it's a bit. I think he's about to take a hammer to the face. But then, Fulgrim would like to get pounded by Ferrus Manus, so there you go. Rogel Dawn, big man himself, loves a good standing still and not moving. That's really his thing. And I don't know who that guy on the right is, but he's probably a Primarch, if I had to guess. Gabriel Angelos, because so many people got into the hobby because of the Dawn of War games, and he's the main guy from that. Didn't even know he was a model, I've got to be honest, actually. But he is. I took a picture of these because I thought they were quite cool. Yeah. And Korvax, because who doesn't want a little bit of dynamism, dynamism, dynamicism? in their Primarchs. Very cool. Oh, and Horus himself, the big man himself, looks like a guy. I've got to say, compared to all the other Primarchs, he looks the most boring. Just gonna say it. I don't think I need to say much more. This is just a nice little scene involving some Imperial Guard killing some traitor Imperial Guard and Nurgle. It's a very heartwarming moment for everyone involved. This is just some Black Templars chilling. Hey, chilling. Or there's also an Eldar about to wreck some face. Oh, and that's an Inquisitor. I don't know what's going on here. I suspect this is actually something that I don't know about. The Fall of Cadia, perhaps. Oh, another video. Ah, yes, Tyranids versus Wolves. Again, they did the explosions really well. My heart really goes out and bleeds to all of the people that made miniatures and then have never had them be touched in decades because they've been put into these showcases. There you go. Very nice. I debated about whether or not taking a picture of this because, you know, it doesn't look like too many things, but actually it's a hell of a lot of things. And big props to whoever the hell painted all of that. Gosh, that's a lot of guardsmen. Or, if you will, a modern ITC list. Oh, okay. This one is 2 minutes of... So this is their biggest display. You can pause that if you want. This is unfortunately in terrible light. And it shifts between red and green and blue, I think. Which is just... and it's a really dark room. It is not good for mobile phone cameras. So, well, unfortunately, that didn't come out very well. It was too dark for you guys to see anything. I had tried to show you the big board they made, but it was too dark in the room and it was just grainy. So, let's check this one out instead. There you go. There's the, is it a Revenant Titan? I'm not even sure. There's just so much on these boards, man. It's crazy how much work goes into them. I mean, I realise it's their job, but it's
Look at those.
nice.
Which of those lifetimes would you rather face?
I've got to say, actually, this Necron board, for what Necrons are, was a little let down. I feel there could have been a lot more to it. But whatever, you know, whatever.
There's no audio, it's fine.
Apparently I'm lying, it is audio. I apologise to the guy that I lied to about Warhammer. Ah, yes. So this is Titan. Really nice, very intricate detail on this one. I'm going to say that about pretty much everything. But really, the thing is, you have to just go there and see it all for yourself because, yeah. I mean, the thing is, by the end of it, I wasn't looking at things anymore. Like, honestly, I'd stopped looking. I was and taking in the details and the amazing painting because everything here is painted brilliantly.
Yeah. That one wasn't painted by hand.
But
No.
when there's so much there, you're just like, yeah, okay, right, cool. fine, whatever.
Those were painted by hand. I will eat a sock.
Oh, that's the Manta, obviously. If you didn't know, the Manta is their biggest model. It is crazy big. Oddly, it's not their most expensive model though. So if you're a Tau player, the Manta is a must-buy. They only have 2 in stock. I suspect that's because they really don't sell out of the wall that much. There you go. And that's my thumbnails that I've made. Amazing. Stunning stuff. Anyway, everyone, that has been my time at Warhammer World.